Hi, Taehyung lovers. Welcome back to the Taehyung Lovers channel all around the world. Don't you dare skip these 3 seconds, because what you're about to hear is not just an ordinary concert story. This is a moment that quietly sparked a global debate and made many people unprepared to accept one fact. Kim Taehyung has once again taken over the world stage. April 2026 might change the way you see concerts forever. It's not just about the stage, the lights, or the music, but about something much deeper: emotion, connection, and a power that not every idol can create. The second night in Tampa was not an ordinary concert. It was a slow-burning explosion that inevitably turned into a global phenomenon that is difficult to explain with logic. And even more surprising, what happened that night actually opened something even bigger for the next day. In this content, we will break down the most intense moments from the second night in Tampa, how BTS and ARMY created an energy that felt like one soul, how Kim Taehyung visuals and gestures became a symbol of stage dominance, to the emotional moments that made thousands of people feel seen on a personal level. We will also discuss rarely noticed details, spontaneous interactions, shifts in stage aura, and why the performance of Boy With Love that night was called the most breathtaking by fans. And most importantly, we will dive into the part that made many people fall silent. Why not everyone is ready to accept this phenomenon. So, if you really want to know what actually happened behind a roaring Tampa stadium, why Taehyung's name echoed the loudest, and why this night is called one of the most iconic moments in modern K-pop history, watch until the end. Write your opinion in the comments, because this is not just a story, this is a debate. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell. And most importantly, help it go viral so the world continues to see the extraordinary side of Kim Taehyung that not everyone has realized yet. April 2026 might change the way you see concerts forever. It's not just about the stage, the lights, or the music. This is a moment that quietly shook global emotions, sparked debates, and brought one name back to dominate world conversations: Kim Taehyung. The second night in Tampa did not unfold like a typical concert. It erupted, slowly but surely, into something far greater than just a performance. Inside a massive stadium filled with tens of thousands of people, the blue light from a sea of light sticks pulse in unison, creating an atmosphere that feels almost unreal to those who have never experienced it firsthand. This was no longer just audience and artists. This was one unified energy. When the beat dropped into a fiery explosion, the entire space trembled, not only from sound, but from the intensity of the emotional connection between BTS and ARMY that night. Thousands, even tens of thousands of voices sang together without pause, without hesitation, as if every lyric had become part of their identity. And in the middle of it all, one name echoed the loudest, the most dominant, the most undeniable: Kim Taehyung. The man often called the most handsome in the world and one of the most globally sought-after figures stood at the center of the stage as if he were the axis of that night's entire reality. Moment after moment felt like scenes from an epic film, crafted with high precision, yet strangely still felt spontaneous and alive. Kim Taehyung appeared with striking red bandana amid the dominance of blue lights, creating a powerful visual contrast that was impossible to ignore. The red jacket he wore was open, revealing a simple white shirt underneath, a choice that only emphasized his natural charisma without excess. When his hand lifted to his head, it was not just choreography, it was a signal, a gesture that felt like direct communication with tens of thousands of people at once. The giant screen behind him magnified every detail of his expression and movement, ensuring that not a single audience member, even those at the highest point of the stadium, missed even the smallest moment. From afar, the crowd looked like a living galaxy, shimmering in harmony, and Kim Taehyung stood at its center like the force of gravity, controlling everything. Yet it was precisely at this point that emotions began to layer, becoming more complex and deeper. A sudden contrast emerged as the atmosphere shifted into something warmer, more personal. Taehyung felt closer, more human, his hair slightly damp with sweat, his face glowing under the stage lights, and his wide, sincere smile without distance gave the impression as if he was sharing a small secret with every individual in that stadium. The red microphone in his hand was no longer just a tool, but a symbol of connection. The graphic black shirt he wore brought a relaxed tone that contrasted with the previous dramatic visuals. And here, another side appeared, not just a world-class performer, but someone who truly enjoyed every second, every cheer, every call of his name. The voices of ARMY calling endlessly, shouting Taehyung repeatedly, mixed with other calls like "Guk, look here," referring to Jungkook, created layers of dynamics that enriched the experience of that night. Two massive magnets on one stage, two energies complementing each other, and thousands of eyes trying to capture every second. As the rhythm rose again, Kim Taehyung moved with an energy that never truly faded. His body leaned with the music, his steps light yet measured, as if dancing between improvisation and precision. The loose pants with graphic details he wore, paired with a large heart-shaped belt, were not just fashion elements, but part of the visual narrative he built throughout the performance. Every detail felt intentional, yet never forced. This is a hallmark of an experienced performer, making something complex look simple, making something grand feel personal. And without realizing it, the audience was no longer just watching, they were being pulled into the story unfolding on stage. Meanwhile, the experience beyond the stage also presented a different emotional dimension. The steep stadium structure made the upper seats feel like they were hanging in the sky. Some spectators even admitted feeling dizzy just looking down, a mix of awe and real fear. Yet therein lies the paradox. The higher their position, the wider the view they gained, and the more they felt the magnitude of the moment, with a capacity of around 70,000 people completely filled. That night became concrete proof that BTS's appeal shows no signs of fading. In fact, it continues to grow stronger and expand beyond geographical and cultural boundaries. The small details that happened throughout the night became elements that strengthened the overall experience. Spontaneous interactions on stage, such as when Young Ho-suk was seen mimicking movements in his signature style from behind, triggered waves of laughter and cheers that spread rapidly throughout the stadium. The performance of Boy With Love became one of the most highlighted moments, with many fans admitting that Kim Taehyung's version that night felt different, deeper, more emotional, even described as almost making them kneel by some attendees. This was not just a performance of a popular song. It was an emotional reinterpretation that touched layers far beyond entertainment. And as the night approached its end, that intensity did not simply disappear, transformed, becoming calmer, more reflective. Taehyung spoke in a simple yet meaningful tone, mentioning the little cheerleaders he saw among the audience, a metaphor that might sound light, yet carried immense power. He reminded everyone that the extraordinary energy filling the stadium came from small, sincere things from individuals who came with the same hope, love, and spirit. Those words were not just a closing, they were an emotional bridge connecting the stage and the audience on a more human level. In the end, the second day in Tampa was not just about music, visuals, or spectacular choreography. It was about how one moment could feel personal to tens of thousands of people at once. About how someone in a crowd could truly feel seen. About how reality seemed to pause for a moment, and the world revolved around a single point where Kim Taehyung stood, and tens of thousands of hearts beat in the same rhythm. And the most striking part is this. If the second night alone created an effect as massive, then the third day is no longer just a continuation. It could become something far greater, something not everyone is ready to witness. Thank you for watching until the end, but honestly, this is not really the end, because April 2026 has already proven one undeniable truth. What happened in Tampa was not just a concert, but a signal that Kim Taehyung is once again redefining global standards, and not everyone is ready to accept its impact. If you feel this moment was just ordinary, maybe you missed its most important details. But if you felt something different, that is exactly what the world is talking about right now. So, what do you think? Is this truly the most iconic moment? Or just the beginning of something even bigger? Write your opinion in the comments, because your voice could become part of this global debate. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and turn on the bell if you want to keep up with the hottest updates. If you don't like it, feel free to skip. Taehyung lovers never forces anyone. But one thing is certain, what happens next might be even more shocking than you imagine. Hard news. The next developments have already begun moving, and the signs cannot be ignored. Stay tuned for the latest updates only on Taehyung lovers. Thank you, and see you again. That concludes our session. Good night, stay safe, and see you next time. Keep following the latest developments about Kim Taehyung only on the Taehyung Lovers channel.